Hello, everyone. Welcome back to today's episode. Today, I have a guest on. She is all the way from Europe. I'm so excited. Her name is Karin Gambaracci, and she grew up, born and raised in Italy, and she is currently living in Germany. And Karin is a dating coach. And yeah, hello, Karin. Welcome. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Hi, Anya. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited as
Oh,
well.
of course. So I always start the first question with like, what was your own journey? How did you become a dating coach?
Yes, it's definitely not the kind of normal, career path that you might be expecting, right? It was not planned at all, right? Like I grew up in Italy, and then I started to study, and I studied engineering in Germany, and I made a lot of career until a certain point where I was 31 years old, and I fell into a deep crisis and of meaning, because I felt I was not really helping anyone with my engineering skills. I was just, it was not really fulfilling me. So I had a big, you know, crisis. And so I dropped everything. I was earning a lot of money, and I dropped everything, and I started to work in a cafe to get some clarity for myself without telling my dad.
Wow, that
And
was a brave move. So
yeah,
you quit your job, full-time engineering position.
yes, because it was just like, my soul was so, it was just like telling me that I'm just, wasting my life and wasting my potential. And I felt so deeply that I wanted to help and be there for people, but I just was not at all doing this, was just, going for some financials and running reports. And so I had to follow through, but I was just honestly not brave enough to tell my dad at the moment, because of course, he had financed everything and all the study. And so I just started to work in a cafe 3 days a week just to have time for myself. And then what I started to do was that I realized how passionate I was for history. So I started to become a city guide in Berlin. And that was already a first big step to really helping and being there for others, because I loved having schools, especially school groups with pupils, and just like talking with them about the reasons, like why things happened, why the World War II, why the Jews, for example, were persecuted, all of this. I went with them to concentration camps. I was like really, I really loved it. And even then, at a certain point, honestly came to a point where I felt I was saying all the same things all the time. And so honestly, after 4 years, also there, I was like more or less coming to a place where I was a bit bored, because I could help, but not really change lives. I could influence and everything, but not really change lives. And at the same time, what happened was that I was looking for love. And at 32 years old, I was single, and I just like felt so deeply that I wanted to have a family, that I wanted to have children and to have a husband. And so I took this very, very seriously, like I do everything with everything in my life. And I said, okay, good, then I'm gonna start dating. And I started not only dating, but I started learning everything I could around dating, around, feminine energy, masculine energy,
Oh, wow.
polarity in a relationship, everything. And it was a very difficult journey. Like it took me a long time, and I had very bad experiences. I was ghosted. I had an experience where I already saw this guy a few times, and then he basically invited me to go to Munich, and I took a bus to go to Munich, and he was supposed to pick me up, and he did not. And
He didn't show up at all?
no, but I lived in Berlin, and Berlin and Munich are far away, like 7, 8 hours bus. So it was there in the evening, and it was 8 o'clock in the evening, and I was like, okay. And I thought he would come, that something happened. So I just went for dinner. But after 2 hours calling him and everything, I realized, okay, he ghosted me there. And I really started to say, oh my goodness, and what am I gonna do now? So I started to go and look for a hotel, but all the hotel rooms were fully booked. Nothing. It was really very, very difficult. And at 1 o'clock in the morning, after 3 hours, I finally found a hotel room. So it
Wow.
was it was a very, very long journey, but I just never gave up. And I always had this attitude that every man I met was a teacher. So I was always looking for the lesson in what I was experiencing. And I really do believe that we do not attract things by chance. And that if we resonate with some person, with a man, that there's a lesson for us, that there's something that is touching us, that is triggering us. So, and this was actually what kept me going in this dating journey.
Wow, I love this all so much. It's so beautiful. I have one question I need to ask you now. So
Sure.
how did you go about dating? Did you go on websites, on dating apps, or how did you start the dating journey?
Well, honestly, both. Like, I was very open to being approached, and sometimes I would even approach men at the beginning, which was not really leading to something a lot, but
Mhm.
mostly through dating apps,
Mhm.
mostly through dating apps. And also there, I also made a lot of bad experiences, but I was just never available for giving up. I was always looking for the lesson, and I was always looking for how I can, improve the way I'm showing up. For example, improve the quality of my pictures, the energy of, my profile, and all of this.
Wow.
And at the end, I I I was dating a very intelligent, interesting guy from Israel. He was very intelligent, very kind. Um, he was a gentleman. He was paying for everything. He was very good looking and everything. So we were in a short-term relationship, but then something happened, and it was a Saturday evening, and I had to go to the hospital. I was very sick, and I called him and I was like, "Hey, I would really, I need you to come. I'm not doing well. Can you please come?" And it was Saturday evening. He was with his friends, and he told me, "No, I'm sorry, I can't. I'm so sorry."
Red
And
flag,
that,
right?
yes. And that was for me probably the moment that changed everything, because I could have just accepted it. I could have just said, okay, yeah, it's fine, because everything else is fine, right? But I allowed myself to be angry. I allowed myself to see my worth and to see, you know what? I am not an egoistic girl. I'm not a bitch. I'm not someone who is always calling for a man. But if I really need a man, I want him to come. Of
Hmm.
course, I would have understood if he was in a very urgent business meeting, right? But
Right.
if he was, just the fact that he was out and about with his friends, and I was so angry, but it was a very liberating kind of anger. It was a good anger. I remember looking at this bathroom floor and really saying, you know what? I am done with it. I am worthy. I am enough. And I deserve a man who would just do anything to be at my side. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
it was like really a decision. It
Oh,
was really
so
a
good for
decision.
you that you kept your expectations high and didn't lower your
Thank you.
expectations throughout the journey.
Thank you. It was the key at the end. And I dropped him in that evening. I sent him a message. I said, I'm done. Sorry.
Good for you.
And 4 days after that, I met the love of my life.
Oh, so how
Four
did that
days.
go? How did you meet him? And
Also through the apps. Also
uh-huh.
through the apps. And it was so special from right away. Like honestly, we met on Tinder, which I, as a dating coach, usually would not recommend Tinder, even if I personally met the love of my life there, just because like usually Tinder is seen more as an app for, short term and sex and so on. But so because we met on Tinder, I was very strict. Like he sent me a message, and so I sent him a message back saying, hey, thank you for your message. You know what? We are on Tinder, so you never know. Can I ask you, are you married? Are you in a relationship? Are you just traveling? Thank you for your understanding. I was like very, not really interested, and just saying, you know what? Let me make sure that I'm not wasting my time. And he answered in such a loving and respectful and long way. He sent me all of his name, what he's doing, where he comes from, what is he doing, for his job. And he sent me his Facebook name, everything. So it was interesting. And from that message, I felt something different. And then we went so deep, and we were talking already so deeply, already in the dating apps, so deeply. And then when we met, it was just amazing. Like after 5 minutes, we were talking about the meaning of life, and it was just amazing. And I honestly really knew one day after I met him that I would be marrying him.
Oh my God. So how long was that journey when you first started dating until you found your
Yeah, it
life
was
partner?
1.5 years of conscious dating, 1.5 years. So it was a long journey. I know it's like some women listening might say, oh, it's not that long. I know that there are women who had even longer journeys. Um, but yeah, it was pretty long. Yeah, it was a pretty long journey.
Oh, it's so beautiful. And it was so worth it, right? I mean,
It was. It
in the end,
was.
you found the love of your life.
It
And
was.
um, and then so was then the idea to become a dating coach born with that, or did you start working as a coach earlier? Like,
Well, the thing was, I was not thinking at all about becoming a dating coach, but after having gone through this experience, I was sensitive, of course, to the topic of dating. And I was hearing a lot of women saying, you know what, love is not meant to be for me. The dating apps don't work. Men are just jerks. There are no good men around. All of these things, right? And my heart was bleeding, and it was hurting just by listening to them, because I knew that, yes, there are jerks out there. Yes, it is more difficult to talk on a dating app than, in real life. Yes, it is difficult and everything, but we are the ones creating our reality. And I'm always making the example, nobody is telling you that it is easy to become a doctor, but that's not a reason not to go and study medicine if you want to become a doctor. It's going to be challenging, and you are ready to just do whatever it takes, and to work on yourself and to learn, and then you're going to become a doctor. And that's the same in dating. I think we have this idea that is so toxic, that comes a lot from movies, that as women we should just sit around, that love will just come, and that we should just let it go, and love will come and just get us. And it might work for some, but it does not for everyone. And that's just it. That was the reason that led me to start being a coach, because I had to start sharing my message. I had to start sharing my story. And at the beginning, I was not good at all. Honestly, I had a big message, but I did not have tools and everything. And I really had to learn. And right now I'm doing this since 6 years, and I've been learning so much, but it's been a journey. But I'm, as passionate as day one, and I'm definitely not getting bored. It's the first time in my life that I'm not getting bored about a job.
yeah, because you work with so many different women, different personalities all the time, right?
Yes,
Um,
especially because, I believe deeply that when I help a woman find love, this woman will have so much energy to go and give to the world, to like a happy woman is unstoppable. And that is what truly, drives me. And that's why I'm not ever getting bored by this.
God, I love this all. So what do you think about, so after a bad relationship or bad breakup, I know a lot of women, they want to take time to heal. So do you, from your experience, think you need to heal first and then go back into the dating pool? Or do you think you can heal while you are out there starting to date?
Well, honestly, I feel that taking time to heal, it makes so much sense, right? But it can also become an excuse not to put yourself out there. And I think it's important to realize that we should not take the fact that we want to heal as an excuse to say that we're not good enough. So basically, there can be this idea that, I have to heal first because the way I am right now is not enough. And that would be just not true. That would be just not true. And so often women have this deep-seated belief that there's something wrong with them, that they're not enough just as they are. And so we always are looking for some kind of excuses why we are not allowing ourselves to go and receive what we want, and in this case, love. So and every woman can only know this for herself, right? If it's simply that her body and her soul need rest, right? If this is coming from a beautiful need of rest and peace, amazing, right? Like healing is rest, right? But if this idea that I want to heal first is coming from saying I'm not enough, there's something wrong with me, then I don't agree with this, because I really do believe that everyone is enough and worthy of love just as they are.
I love how you really integrate the mindset, because I think that is so key. And all the women who say they end up in the same bad relationship, I think that's exactly what it comes down to, right? They don't have that mindset of worthiness, so they attract the same toxic partner again. So when they start working with you, how does it look like? Like, what steps do you take? How do you help them change their mindset and help them to attract a good partner?
Well, there's never, a fixed way, because like we are all different. At the end of the day, I believe that that finding love is easy and receiving love is easy, just by the law of attraction. When I am in alignment with my desire, when I'm fully believing that I am worthy of receiving it, it will come to me. So my work is mostly about helping women to find the reasons that they are telling themselves why they are not worthy of it, or why this is not safe. So, for example, the worthiness part is the one part, right? So they might be telling themselves there's something wrong with me. So yeah, I am not worthy of a good man. That could be one. But another kind of block could be a woman who basically does not trust men. So she might have had bad experiences with men. So she might tell herself that she wants a new relationship, but deep down she just does not trust. She does not like men. She just does not feel safe with them. So she will always find ways of sabotaging her relationship, because at the end of the day, her ego wants to keep her safe. So my job is honestly just like to lovingly find with her the excuses that she is finding for herself. And I'm just in a conversation lovingly helping her to reframe them, to find, the confirmation that something else might be true, right? So that she can create the life that she really deserves.
This is so beautiful. And I think this is spot on exactly what it comes down to, right? It's all about worthiness. And because if you feel that, it's like what you bring out to the world, you're going to attract back, right? So once
Yes.
you are in this mindset and in, like you said, in alignment, then you bring in that partner. Oh God, I love it so much. So how do so you said one-on-one. How do your do you have different programs, or do you only work one-on-one? How can women work with you if they are interested?
Yes. Well, I have several programs, like more or less I'm running one program a month, programs or master classes. Because like often, like I see that there are different kind of women. Like it's not always necessary to work one-on-one with me, because truly the blockages, the blocks are similar. Like we tend to have similar blocks. So it's not always necessary to work one-on-one with me. That might be a little bit more expensive. I have really like programs that are really going very, very deep, where I'm like challenging in my teachings to open our mind and to really see that life can be so easy if we allow it to. So, for example, last month I had a program about feminine energy, and this month it's conscious dating for marriage. Next month it will be aligned. So it's going to be about finding these beliefs and releasing them. So there are definitely, affordable ways of joining my programs. And of course, I'm also offering one-on-one breakthrough sessions, where it works like this, that I'm always sending an intake form that is really detailed, where I always also want to know the story of the woman I'm working with, her past relationships, her struggles, but also her family situation when she was growing up, because so much comes really from childhood. So much, like when we are not feeling worthy, for example, comes down to the fact that we did not experience, unconditional love growing up. And I start really by reading this intake form. Then we have, 1 hour together where we are going super, super deep. And then there's 1 week afterwards where the woman can ask me any question. So that is the one-on-one. But I'm not doing any fixed packages of a certain length anymore, because I truly respect every woman's journey. And I am nobody, like, I don't feel that I am the one to tell a woman, you need 3 months or 6 months. I deeply respect every woman, and I deeply trust that every woman knows what she needs and will get it, and will come and will ask for it. And if she wants to have only one session with me, amazing. If she wants to have one session with me and after 3 months another, amazing. I really trust that every woman has her own truth inside, and I don't have her truth. I'm simply here to help her, find this truth, but I don't have her truth.
I could sit here for hours and just listen to you. It's all so beautiful. I'm really curious, like, what is the age range of women? Do you have like any age, or do you have more certain age groups than others that you work with?
It's funny because like the age range is so diverse. Like my youngest client was 23 years old, like really, really young, an amazing young lady. And my oldest client is 68. So really like, yes, there is no age range. I was also thinking about whether I should be, limiting it or niching down. But at the end of the day, I just trust that the women who feel called will work with me,
Yeah, even
because
better that you are accessible to so many women, right? So it's not just women coming out of divorce. I mean, it's even like the 23-year-old who's probably like you when you started, really determined and like wants to get this right. So she gets the resources right away to help her be more successful. I think it's beautiful.
yeah, she's an amazing young girl. Maybe if she will listen, she will recognize herself. Yes, but she also herself came, from a difficult childhood, but she was so intentional in her healing journey already with 23. She had healed and worked so much in herself that she was really so much ready really for a conscious relationship. And the one thing that we really had to work on with her was to allow things to be easy, because especially when we are strong and powerful as women, we might tend to unconsciously seek situations that are difficult because we are able to cope and we are able to handle them, and to really like give ourselves the permission in our relationship to have things easy, to not have to struggle. It really takes an intentionality behind to allow things to just flow.
Oh, for sure. For sure. I totally agree 100%. So where can women find you who are interested in working with you? Do you have a website? What's the easiest way to get in contact with you?
Yeah, mostly on Instagram. Like Instagram is my jam. So I don't know if you're gonna put it in the show notes, but it's
Yes,
just
for sure.
Karin Gambaracci. It's my Instagram. I don't have a website or anything because like I'm a mom myself and my time is not so much and pretty limited. So I'm basically focused on my work, on serving and on showing up daily on Instagram. But I have really even so much content on my feed that if someone wants to know more, I have over 1,000 posts
Oh, wow.
that are really very in-depth posts. So if someone wants to know more, definitely they can maybe start to go through my feed on Instagram.
Thank you so much. This was such a great conversation, and I'm so happy you were able to do this, especially with the 9-hour time difference. Thank you so much for taking the time and sharing all this. I just have to say it again. I love your energy. It's like, as I said earlier, I could listen to you for hours. Thank you so
Oh,
much. I really love it.
thank you so much, Anya. It's been an absolute honor and pleasure. Thank you.